This is Radio Prague International coming to you from the Czech capital.
Hello and welcome to Radio Prague with me, Daniela Lazarová. Coming up in the next half hour, millions of Czechs are looking forward to the all-Czech Grandslam final on Saturday. Should Czechia lower the age of criminal responsibility? A new report highlights the rise in violent crime. A 1940s coal plant comes alive as a street art festival transforms an unusual Olomouc landmark. And Vamberg bobbin lace becomes the first Czech craft to win EU geographical protection. All that coming up, but first, here's the news.
News.
The Czech Republic is sending a Black Hawk helicopter to help battle the extensive wildfires that have been burning in southern France for several days and remain out of control. The helicopter departed from Přerov Airport on Friday morning in response to France's request for assistance from European countries. The aircraft is specially designed for aerial fighting and is equipped with a Bambi bucket capable of carrying 3,450 litres of water. The Czech army has taken delivery of the last 42 Leopard 2A4 main battle tanks at its base in Přáslavice, completing its transition from Soviet-era armoured vehicles to modern Western equipment. Defence Minister Jaromír Zuna said the 4-year modernisation process marks the end of the army's reliance on Soviet-designed T-72 tanks. Between 2028 and 2030, the Czech Republic plans to acquire another 44 Leopard 2A8 tanks, the latest version of the German-made vehicle. Firefighters have brought a major blaze at a factory complex in the eastern part of the Czech Republic in the city of Zlín under control after containing the fire overnight. The alert level has been lowered to 3rd on a 4-point scale, but extinguishing work is expected to continue throughout the day. Firefighters are again being assisted by a helicopter. No injuries have been reported and the cause of the fire remains under investigation. The Czech Republic has moved up Russia's list of what it describes as hostile governments, rising from 10th to joint 5th place alongside Poland, Finland and Sweden. The monthly ranking is published by the Russian newspaper Vzhlyad, which said the Czech Republic deserved special attention this month. The paper cited continued financial and military support for Ukraine, as well as participation in NATO exercises near the Russian and Belarusian borders. The Czech governing coalition wants to abolish the statute of limitations for murder, allowing suspects to be prosecuted regardless of how much time has passed since the crime. Current legislation prevents police from prosecuting murders committed more than 30 years ago. A similar proposal has also been submitted in the Senate. Supporters of the change argue that advances in forensic science, particularly DNA analysis and comparison, have made it possible to solve decades-old cases. Justice Minister Jeroným Tate said the amendment would likely affect only a small number of cases. A smart recording device found earlier this year in the Czech government's meeting room at the Straka Academy belongs to Sports Minister Boris Šťastný, he said, after media reports raised questions about the discovery. The news website Seznam Zprávy reported that neither the police nor the intelligence services had been informed after the device was found in the government meeting room. Šťastný, a member of the Motorist Party, said the device was an AI-powered recorder that he uses to transcribe his notes and speeches, and that he had lost it several months ago. He added that the media report had finally revealed where it had ended up. A government spokeswoman said the device posed no security risk, despite the fact that the cabinet discusses classified matters in the respective chamber and strict rules apply to recording. In response to journalists' questions, she said the recorder was discovered by staff during routine cleaning. It was reportedly switched off and not concealed, indicating that it had simply been misplaced. Czech police and the Interior Ministry are warning that children face increased risks online during the summer holidays, when many spend more time on the internet because of loneliness or a lack of structured activities. A new prevention campaign highlights the dangers of cyber grooming, showing how online manipulation, coercion and exploitation can develop. Research also suggests that some school children would agree to meet strangers they first encountered online. The Interior Ministry has allocated around 40 million crowns this year to support child protection measures, including helplines, assistance for vulnerable children and violence prevention programs. Experts also continue to advise parents against posting photographs of their children on social media. Actors Juliette Binoche, Jeffrey Wright and Kevin Bacon are set to present their films at the Karlovy Vary International Film Festival this evening. Binoche will introduce Three Colours Blue, Wright will present the biographical drama Basquiat, while Bacon will present the horror comedy Family Movie. Festival organisers had not announced Bacon's participation in advance. They also kept secret the arrival of German actress Nastasia Kinski, who came with a delegation of the competition film Czech-mate by Iranian-born director Nader Sayvar, who lives in exile in Germany. And finally, a quick look at the weather forecast. Saturday should be clear to partly cloudy and mostly dry around the country, with day temperatures between 25 and 29 degrees Celsius. That was the news, and we move on now to current affairs. The 139th edition of Wimbledon is making Czech tennis history. For the first time ever, it is already certain before the final that the Wimbledon title will go to a Czech player. Linda Noskova and Karolina Muchová will face each other in Saturday's championship match. Romana Grajcarová has the details.
Both Muchová and Noskova are chasing the first Grand Slam title of their careers. While 29-year-old Muchová has previously reached the French Open final, 21-year-old Noskova is making her Grand Slam final debut. It will be the first all-Czech Wimbledon final since the Czech Republic became an independent state in 1993. Muchová secured her place in the final with Thursday's victory over American Coco Gauff. During the match, she was troubled by physical discomfort, but fortunately it did not turn out to be an injury.
Just was trying to catch a breath, but no, I'm good.
Karolina Muchová eventually won the match 2-1 in sets after 2 hours and 38 minutes, securing her place in the Wimbledon final for the first time in her career.
Karolina Muchová is a Wimbledon finalist. It was such a big fight. It was roller coaster. As you said, you're up and down. In 10 seconds you have a match point, then your match point down. It's no time to think, but very nerve-wracking. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm really kind of shaking, and it sounds really nice to be in a final.
A few hours after Muchová's triumph, Linda Noskova took to the court to face 3 years older Ukrainian Marta Kostyuk in the second semi-final. Noskova went on to win in straight sets, sealing victory in 1 hour and 19 minutes.
For me, it's always just to focus on myself, to focus on my game. When I play my best, I know that I can play with the best players in the world and have a great result, which is a final at a Grand Slam, I guess. So
The last all-Czech women's final at Wimbledon took place in 1986 when Hana Mandlíková faced Martina Navrátilová. Nevertheless, Navrátilová was already representing the United States at the time. 40 years later, the tennis star voiced her excitement over the Czech success.
It's incredible. When I saw the quarterfinals, I thought, it's possible, but probably not very likely. In the end, it's an incredible achievement.
Whether it be Muchová or Noskova, one of them will become the third Czech Wimbledon champion in the past 4 seasons. The final, that will take place on Saturday at 5 p.m. CET, will definitely glue millions of Czechs to their TV sets.
Romana Grajcarová with that report, and of course we'll be reporting on that all-important match. Violent crime committed by children is on the rise in Czechia, with a growing number of attacks carried out simply for the thrill of it. The trend is prompting renewed debate over whether the age of criminal responsibility should be lowered. Ruth Frankova has the story.
Theft, robbery, cybercrime and sexual violence are among the offences increasingly being committed by children and juvenile offenders in Czechia, according to a new report by the Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office. In 2025, state prosecutors handled more than 3,800 cases involving children and juveniles. Children under the age of 15 committed more than 1,600 offences, with 2/3 carried out by 13 and 14-year-olds. Zuzana Mokrá, who has worked with young offenders for more than 15 years, says the range of offences has widened in recent years.
Among children, we most often see robbery, theft, assault causing bodily harm and disorderly conduct. Among juveniles, there are also cases of making dangerous threats, as well as radicalization and extremism. And since the law changed, we've also been seeing more sexual offences.
Petr Malý, spokesperson for the Supreme Public Prosecutor's Office, says the rise in radicalization and violent crime reflects broader changes in society.
This may reflect a general increase in aggression, emotional instability and impulsiveness. As a result, these offences are often situational, arising from trivial disputes, while in other cases the violence is influenced by alcohol consumption. In response to the trend, the report recommends lowering the age of criminal responsibility from 15 to 13 for the most serious crimes. Supreme Public Prosecutor Lenka Bradáčová says the proposal should be considered because violent offences are now almost evenly split between children under 15 and juvenile offenders. Justice Minister Jaromír Tejc has also backed the proposal, and the Justice Ministry is now preparing an analysis. The report also recommends creating specialized secure facilities for children who repeatedly commit violent offences and pose a danger to others. According to Petr Malý, such institutions would serve a dual purpose. The solution would be a secure institution providing psychological, psychiatric, therapeutic and social care that would also ensure the safety of staff and the public. Despite the worrying trend, experts say most young offenders can still be steered away from crime. According to Zuzana Mokrá, unstable family backgrounds, social media and peer pressure are among the main factors driving children and teenagers to offend. They often tell us it's the first time they've had the chance to really reflect on what they've done, because in their group of friends they feel they have to act tough, and at home they don't really talk about these things with their parents.
Mokrá says that with the right support, most children and teenagers are able to recognize their mistakes and change their behavior before offending becomes a pattern.
Ruth Frankova with that report. An old hospital coal plant might seem an unlikely place for contemporary art, but this summer the Czech Street Art Festival has transformed a functionalist industrial landmark into a space where street art and psychotherapy collide. Anna-Marie Regner went to check it out.
What does the 19th century French poem have to do with graffiti? This summer, visitors to Olomouc's Street Art Festival, SAFE, can find the answer inside a functionalist coal facility designed in 1946 by Czech architect Bedřich Rosenhal. Once used as a coal plant for the neighboring hospital, the preserved industrial building has been transformed into an ephemeral exhibition space by Soma, a center for contemporary art and psychotherapy. One of the installations part of this year's festival is a new work by Czech painter and graffiti writer Matěj Olmer, who drew inspiration from one French poem.
The inspiration is coming from the poem by Charles Baudelaire, the very famous French poet. The name of the poem is The Carcass. I like it because it's kind of romantic poem, but still very decadent and very dark as well. Well, first I see the space where I'm supposed to paint and feel the composition. The thing is I have to visualize the words, the parts of poem, and I just make it alive in a visual form, actually.
Rather than illustrating the poem directly, Olmer translates it into an abstract visual language rooted in graffiti.
Actually, my graffiti is very specific in a way that I deconstruct letters into the paintings. I use the structure of letters as a scaffolding for my painting.
For Olmer, graffiti and street art is an often misunderstood art form. SAFE is actively combating this by showing it is an art for everybody.
I mean, the general public is persuaded about the fact that graffiti is a simple vandalism without any meaning, and they only respect the complex paintings like the figurative and nature, and they don't understand the value of letters themselves. And the graffiti is mostly about the shape of letters, about the movement, about the energy, about the inner value in the letters and words itself. I think the most important fact about the street art is that it's being displayed in a public space, so everybody is related to it, because everybody sees it in everyday life.
That idea has guided the Street Art Festival since it was founded in 2007. Every summer, SAFE brings artists from the Czech Republic and abroad to create works in Olomouc and Hradec Králové, often in places where people might not expect to encounter contemporary art. Festival founder and art historian Romana Junkerová says it all began as a small gathering of a community of graffiti artists.
The Street Art Festival began almost 20 years ago as a small community action called Live Graffiti Show, simply brought together graffiti writers from Olomouc and other cities.
Since then, the festival has grown massively while remaining rooted in the local graffiti scene. While Olomouc has the Museum of Modern Art, boasting the third largest contemporary art collection in Czechia, it presents a particular challenge for street art.
Olomouc has several disadvantages for street art. For one, it's a somewhat conservative city. In public space, you'll find an abundance of Baroque monuments and statues. The architecture is mostly Baroque or historicist, and there are UNESCO sites here, which makes most contemporary artistic intervention in public space difficult.
Olomouc, located in the eastern province of Moravia, is home to a UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Holy Trinity Column. Olomouc has the second largest urban historic preservation district in the Czech Republic after Prague, which means that any construction work or art installation is strictly regulated. Rather than competing with the city's historic character, the festival aims to become part of it.
In the late 90s, Olomouc was known for its street art in public spaces. In fact, you can still find it here today. If you look closely at the buildings around you, you might come across colorful balloons or black cats with glowing eyes. I'd say that in Olomouc we're trying to keep this historical thread alive rather than trying to make a name for ourselves.
This year's exhibition is hosted by Soma, a project that combines contemporary art with psychotherapy in collaboration with the University Hospital Olomouc and the Museum of Art Olomouc. Sylvia Hajgíková, art curator at Soma, explains.
Soma is a center for contemporary art and psychotherapists created in collaboration with Hospital Olomouc and Museum of Arts Olomouc. It is a space designed for sharing, interaction, learning and overcoming various forms of trauma through and with forms of contemporary art.
The former coal plant itself reflects the project's philosophy.
This is a former coal facility that was designed in 1946 in functionalistic styles by architect Bedřich Rozehnal. It has been preserved in an intact state, and we aim to keep the space as intact as possible while giving it a new dimension through events.
The center's broader theme, From Birth to Death, can also be read through the building's own history. That process of renewal also involved patients from the neighboring hospital.
Part of the Soma team includes professionals from the hospital. I approached Dr. Grambal to discuss which patients could take part. Together with 8 patients, we dyed fabrics, which later became the canvas for Matěj Olmer.
For a few weeks, a building once designed to fuel hospital boilers now fuels conversations about poetry, graffiti, architecture, and healing. It demonstrates how the controversial art form can transform perspectives on life, architecture, and what we consider art. SAFE has a myriad of projects on offer for the general public and continues to act as a street art cultural preservationist for future years.
Anna-Marie Regner reporting there. A reminder that you're listening to Radio Prague International, and before we move on, there is something I'd like to bring your attention to. As some of you may know, Radio Prague is celebrating its 90th birthday on August the 31st. In the run-up to the anniversary, we look back at the history of Czech Radio's international service and the events that shaped the station over the years. This Saturday, July 11th, we are launching the first of our 8-part series focusing on the station's early years. Here's a little snippet from the programme now.
This is an experimental broadcast of the Czechoslovak shortwave station, Praha. We beg our listeners to so kindly let us know on which wavelength and at what hour they catch this transmission. The address is Shortwave Station, Praha, Czechoslovakia. Thanks so very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Regular foreign broadcasting had begun 7 months earlier on August 31st, 1936 at 10 a.m. At that time, Technical Director Edward Svoboda addressed listeners around the world in English. At first, the airwaves were filled mainly with music, occasionally supplemented by announcers speaking in various world languages. Soon, however, the first journalist-style programs emerged. For example, portraits of Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk and Edvard Beneš, inspired by the book Inside Europe by the American writer John Gunther. On New Year's Eve 1936, actor Vlasta Burian read the sports news and the weather forecast, and the hugely popular puppets Spejbl and Hurvínek also made an appearance. A little snippet there from the first part of our series on Radio Prague International's history starting tomorrow, so don't miss it. Moving on now, for generations the town of Vamberk has been synonymous with lace making. Now its most famous craft has earned a new distinction. The exquisite Vamberk bobbin lace has become the first Czech craft product to receive European Protected Geographical Indication status. Ruth Franková has the story.
Nestled in the foothills of the Orlické Mountains in the northeast of Czechia, Vamberk has been associated with lace making since the 17th century. The tradition dates back to the 30 Years' War, explains ethnologist Martina Rejzlová from the Lace Museum in Vamberk.
Po 30leté válce přichází do Vamberka Kašpar z Grambu se svojí chotí.
After the war, Kašpar of Gramp arrived in Vamberk with his wife Magdalena, who helped develop bobbin lace making in the area. She brought lace makers with her, especially instructors from Flanders, and they taught local women this sophisticated West European style of lace making. From this tradition later evolved the distinctive Vamberk train lace style.
The craft continued to flourish, and by the end of the 19th century, the first Czech vocational lace-making school had been established in the city, and it remains open to this day. For Rejzlová, the tradition is also deeply personal.
A ta tradice v té rodině, to předávání z babičky na matku, z matku.
The tradition has been passed down within families from grandmother to mother and from mother to daughter without interruption for almost 400 years. We ourselves are an example of this. I'm the 5th generation of lace makers in my family, and our daughter, if she chooses to pursue lace making, although she already knows how to make lace, would be the 6th.
According to Rejzlová, one reason lace-making survived in Vamberk while it disappeared elsewhere was its close connection to the local nobility.
Pak byla druhý typ krajkářství v českých zemích.
Elsewhere in the Czech lands, there was another type of lace-making tradition associated with mining settlements. Miners' wives made lace while their husbands worked in the mines, but once the deposits were exhausted, the miners moved on, and the craft gradually disappeared from those regions. Of course, many other factors contributed as well, including the geographical conditions in the foothills of the all-Czech mountains and the opportunity to sell lace throughout the Habsburg monarchy.
Vlastně možnost prodeje těch krajek po celé monarchii.
Today, only lace made in and around Bamberg using traditional local techniques can carry the protected designation. Another hallmark of Bamberg lace is its extraordinary precision, says Rejslová.
Máme zde určité techniky, které používáme a hlavně je to...
We use specific techniques and above all a large number of bobbins and thread pairs to ensure the lace is dense and finely crafted. Each lace maker also develops her own distinctive patterns. Some specialize in lace jewelry, others focus on decorative lace or pictorial lace. What matters most is top-quality craftsmanship and the connection to the Bamberg region. The craft has already been included on Czechia's list of intangible cultural heritage. The new European designation, Rejslová says, is further recognition of the skill and dedication of local lace makers.
Máme tady x krajkářek, které umí špičkovou bamberickou krajku.
We have many highly skilled lace makers producing top-quality Bamberg lace. Thanks to our inclusion on the national list of intangible cultural heritage, and now with the addition of this European designation, we feel that we are helping to safeguard the craft and create favourable conditions for future generations so that lace making can continue to thrive here.
Úrodnou půdu, aby to krajkářství tady vydrželo.
Meanwhile, efforts are already underway to have Bamberg bobbin lace added to UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage list. The nomination is being prepared jointly with Slovakia, explains Rejslová.
Bamberecké krajkářky odcházely na Slovensko.
Historically, lace makers from Bamberg travelled to Slovakia and produced traditional Bamberg lace there. The craft took root in Slovakia and is still practiced there today. After 1945, the Bamberg Cooperative was established and began collaborating with professional artists and designers who brought a strong artistic dimension to the craft. As a result, modern bobbin lace developed extensively in our region after the war. In Slovakia, however, the traditional Bamberg train lace style has remained largely unchanged and continues to be made to this day. We believe that this shared heritage could help open the door to UNESCO recognition.
Nám mohlo pootevřít dveře do UNESCO.
Those wishing to see the results of generations of lace makers can visit the Lace Museum in Bamberg, which is open daily from June through September.
And that report by Ruth Frankova has brought us to the end of today's programme from Prague. Should you like to contact us, then please write to english@radio.cz. And remember, you will find all our programmes in text and sound at radio.cz. This is Danielle Lazarová saying thanks for listening and take care.